Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadare Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatruvescha Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitana Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. So this is an extremely short video, and it's based on a conversation I was having with someone. And it dealt with the nature and description of what is Guru Nistha. So as you see in the title, I purposely put Guru Nistha written in one way, and then Guru Nistha written in all caps. So what I wanted to portray is the different conceptions that may be there as far as Guru Nistha is concerned. So first we should maybe give some brief understanding or outline of what is Guru Nistha. So obviously Guru means that person who is Tadpari Pranipatena Pariprishnena Sevaya Upadakshanti Te Gyanam Ganinas Tatpadarshana Tasmad Guru Papajita, and several other verses which describe the quality of Sri Guru. Also, Gu Shabdat Andakarasha, Ru Shabdat Andakarasha Nirodita. That person especially who can bring one from the darkness of avidya into the light of spiritual realization, they are also called Guru. So that function of Guru has many nuances, and this is not a discussion on Guru Tattva, but rather on Guru Nistha. So Nistha means Nischalaya Yasha Iti Nistha. One definition is given for the stage of Nistha, that place at which the chitta is nischal. It means it's not vacillating. That means the place in which the doubts, apprehensions, etc. in a disciple are not prominently affecting their relationship with Sri Guru. When the disciple chitta and their consciousness of their faith, especially in relation to Sri Guru and Sadhu, is nischal, it is fixed, based on being, like in the verse of Rupa Goswami Pad, Sastra Yukti, what is this verse? What is this verse? Let me see. Shasrikti Naipunya Dridashara Yandra Uttamari Karise Tari Sangsar. So a person who is Sastra Yukti means who, by the mercy of Sri Guru, they are imbued with Sastra, and Sastra Yukti means some knowledge of the Sastra itself and the principles of logic, and more particularly, not just logic here, but the mood of understanding of that Sastra, some realization, Anubhuti Bhavati, some realization of that Sastra. That is called realization in this context. So in being imbued with that, right, where it actually removes all doubt, that is called being Sastra Yukti Suni Punya, means having that in a very significant way. And therefore, Dridashara Yanra, their faith in the Sadhu Guru is really fixed firmly, and it's not wavering due to doubts, due to lack of information or lack of knowledge or lack of realization, etc. So Guru Nistha, just in a nutshell, means this, right? So how we act on the principle of Guru Nistha should be reflective of that reality. In other words, anytime there's any theological issue, we should be able to find reconciliation in the principle of Guru, because Guru is that principle which is an absolute representation of Bhagavan in this world. And Bhagavan is Advaya Gyan Paratattva, means non-dual. There is no duality, there is no doubt, apprehension, anything within Bhagavan. So whatever doubt, apprehension, or misunderstandings may exist, only exists within those who are aspiring or unfolding to serving Bhagavan, right? So, in that way, we can always look to the lotus feet of Sri Guru as the embodiment of reconciliation of any doubts. The removal of sankshaya or doubt is one of the chief principles of the relationship between Guru and disciple, that Sri Guru can remove the doubts of any disciple. So having Nistha in that fact is called Guru Nistha. Guru Nistha is not the second description in all caps of Guru Nistha, is the emotional idea of my relationship with Sri Guru. And that somehow my relationship with Sri Guru makes anything that I've individually understood or anything that I individually espouse based on what I've heard from Sri Guru is the only and exclusive understanding of Sri Guru. Because I have capital Guru Nistha. You understand? Or the mentality that others, especially when you're dealing with God brothers and God sisters, that any God brother or God sister that does not have the same view or understanding or has not gleaned from Sri Gurudev the same understanding of a particular tattva or something, then they don't have Guru Nistha and I have Guru Nistha in all caps. This is not Guru Nistha. This is the imposition of our own emotional content and our own various idiosyncrasies into the idea of Guru Nistha, which I explained earlier. Guru Nistha is Nistha in the fact that my Gurudev's love and affection, my Gurudev's absolute knowledge, which reconciles everything, that is Guru Nistha. That feeling in the disciple is called Guru Nistha. Not the feeling that my conception, my understanding, and what I have understood from Guru, and even if I get a collective of people who have the same consensus, that turns into Guru Nistha. No. Guru Nistha is the ability to have firm faith that Gurudev can reconcile everything. And Srila Gurudev's mercy is that the very vetting process for reconciling everything is given by Sri Guru. That process is called Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. So everything that I hear from Sri Guru, I will be able to vet that in Sadhu and Sastra. This vetting process doesn't arise from doubt. It arises from the Nistha that Gurudev has reconciled everything, and therefore when I find it, it will become more of a locking or more of a substantiating foundation for the reconciliation that my Guru Pada Padma gave. You understand? It's not a question of doubt to then follow the very methodology that Srila Gurudev has spoken as the vetting method for any tattva, which is Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. So if I will do that, no, then you don't have Guru Nistha. I only follow my Gurudev. Previously, we used to hear this a lot. I'm not getting into any dynamics or politics or anything, but you would hear it as an idea that though I may not have taken up the process of doing Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra, because I heard something from my Gurudev, what I heard is sufficient. And everyone will have to, I gave the example the other day, everybody will have to accept that, or they don't have Guru Nistha, or another common saying is they don't have the mood, or don't understand the mood of Gurudev. So I'm giving one example I gave the other day because it's a popular, perennial theme that comes up. There's a few things that come up annually at some point or another. One is the nature of the jiva's origin and whether they fell from the spiritual world or not. And the other one is the very nature of the swarupa of the jiva. And then there's others, there's other perennial issues as well. So, but in this issue of whether or not we fell from the spiritual realm or not, there is no question, for instance, that our Srila Prabhupada literally mentioned on different occasions, under different circumstances, that we had an original relationship with Krishna, that due to the misuse of free will was broken and that we fell to the material world, and we're beginning our process of reviving that relationship through the process of bhakti. So I explained the other day, and I'm not going to go over it again because I just explained it on a Q&A session yesterday, I believe it was, right? That Srila Prabhupada was taking a narrative which was very familiar to the Western world, which was one of original sin, fall, and repentance, and couching the theological concept of Vaishnavism regarding the constitutional relationship that we have with Krishna, right? That we are eternally the servant of Krishna. This is a constitutional reality. So he was establishing that. So though historically, and I spoke about what is ontology, he was establishing that ontological reality, right? That fact about the jiva through a narrative that he gave that was comfortable for us because we've heard it many times in our Judeo-Christian backgrounds, right? Because that was the predominant religious presentation in the entire Western world, was Judeo-Christian ideals, right? So, based on that, there are some devotees who then claimed Guru Nistha by refusing to reconcile the fact that no one can actually fall from the spiritual world, which Srila Prabhupada himself mentions in Srimad Bhagavatam, which all of our Purva Acharyas have mentioned in innumerable writings, right? But a ecclesiastical decision and a sense of Guru Nistha, second category, all caps, right, arose that only this select group of people had access to understanding a mood, right? Very abstract idea. The mood of our Srila Prabhupada. So it indicates that because we've come to a certain conclusion or decision, right, void of perhaps even a deeper investigation into Sadhu and Sastra, that conclusion should be accepted based on the idea that we think you should know that we have a special access to the mood of Guru. So whenever this happens, you can red flag it as not being Guru Nistha, but being a conflation between somebody's emotional content, somebody's, in some cases, agenda, not all cases, but some cases agenda, and in some cases, some interpersonal or interpersonal dealings that someone has had and therefore has taken a certain perspective and is now trying to impose that into the nature of being the Guru Nistha disciple, right? So we have to be extremely careful. Some of the things which are hallmark symptoms that it's not Guru Nistha is where it, one, doesn't look for reconciliation. And you can write these down. One, it doesn't look for reconciliation. Two, it breeds animosity in some way, form, or fashion. It breeds duplicitous behavior. Like, if someone is God brother, God sister, and we all have Guru, and there's loving, affectionate relationship, then immediately, if someone has any situation that is doubtful in their character, doubtful in their theological presentation, immediately their phone, email, messages should be flooded with a mood of love, looking at reconciliation to try to understand how you came into this understanding or that understanding, or why it may not be the understanding of Srila Gurudev. And then, because it is looking for reconciliation, the mood would not have any sense of vitriol. There wouldn't be any mood of, oh, well, that person this, that, I don't like that person this. That would not be there. So when you feel that mood arise, then you know it's not Guru Nistha at play. It is that person's own interpersonal conflation with the idea of Guru Nistha and the tendency to use Guru Nistha as a shield about their emotional expressions. You understand? Now, if somebody has outright made a philosophical deviation, right, then you can still, in the same way, bring it up, and it should be vetted by what? Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. Because Because it is possible that two disciples will glean something different from the same words spoken by their guru, because we're not robots. We're not a homogeneous entity. We're all individuals. And we all have our own individual DNA. Even our own bhakti DNA is different, because everybody's praktana and aduniki sanskars are different. So how one disciple may hear something may be different. So then, by sitting in loving mood and discussing according to Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra, there's a possibility of finding reconciliation. And then it becomes clear. And even when the reconciliation doesn't immediately become manifest, the spirit of love and affection is there in such a way that there is not an idea of animosity, in group, out group, that's their group, this is our group, we don't like them, etc. All of those kind of things, which lead to behaviors, rumor spreading, or aparads, or slanders, and all sort of other things. So we have seen this not only in one institution, throughout many institutions, right? And therefore I'm making this presentation because I had a discussion with somebody on what is Guru Nistha. Another thing is one symptom. I was mentioning symptoms, and another symptom, right? We already mentioned wherever it is not a search for reconciliation, where there is animosity or vitriol, right? Also, whenever there is a situation that gives in us a sense of defending and championing, if that's the word, the cause of our Gurudev. I'm going to champion the cause of Gurudev. I'm defending Gurudev. We cannot defend Gurudev. The position of Sri Guru is one that doesn't need defending. It is self-perfect, Swata Siddha. It is a perfect position. It is an absolute position. In my relative unfoldment period, I cannot defend the absolute. I can serve the absolute. And by serving the absolute, then I'll have to do it if there's Majjhimadikar according to 3 different ways. Right? First of all, we won't say praying here, right? Because maybe we have not attained praying. It should be 4 things. Pray, Maiti, Kripa, Upeksha. Right? So to those persons who are God brothers, God sisters, or even other Vaishnavas, right? Then Maitri, some friendship will be shown to them. And we will exchange according to the nature of that friendship, taking into account etiquette and so forth, so on. We'll have Maitri and we'll have discussions. As Rupa Goswami mentioned, Dadati Patagrinati, Guyam Akiti Prichati, Bhukte Bojayate Chaiva, Sadviram Priti Lakshanam. With great love and affection, Guyam Akiti Prichati, realizations can be exchanged to look for reconciliation. Right? The other thing is that one, this looking for reconciliation, let me get my chain of thought here. Oh, and the other thing will be that there will be a mood of love and affection, as I mentioned in the last line here. Priti Lakshanam. Those exchanges will be imbued with love and affection. So it won't be a case where the possibility of any kind of aparad and so forth will go on. Understand? So this wasn't a very impromptu sort of taping. I just kind of wanted to discuss something about Guru Nistha because I had that conversation. And I think it's really important to get some idea, at least, something on the table in terms of what is actually Guru Nistha as opposed to what is couched as Guru Nistha, but is not. Oh, one thing, I think I was on the chain of thought, forgive me for this, but that the position of Guru is not one that needs to be defended. So, based on that idea that Guru's existence, Guru's principle is absolute, we're not defending, we're serving. And serving comes in the mood I just mentioned. Also, if we have a mood of service, then it avails us to the mercy that comes from serving. If we have the idea of defending, then emotions regarding even the mundane quality of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending arise. So the material quality of defending arises. which nourishes the false egoism. I am the real disciple. I am the real Sishya of Sri Guru. This is the real ideas of Sri Guru. So, all of these things are actual symptoms, just like a doctor will give diagnosis of a patient based on symptoms. So these are the symptoms of the difference between Guru Nistha and the capitalized Guru Nistha, right? The shouting of Guru Nistha. I have Guru Nistha, and therefore this is why I'm acting in all of these very, in some cases, very bizarre ways, right? And I've also seen it. I've seen people just go straight to a kind of offensive vitriol in discussing somebody. Somebody, I recently saw something, somebody was speaking to one person and there was just a whole thread of vitriol and of opera. I just stopped reading it, right? But this is the nature of what people believe, in some cases, to be Guru Nistha. I'm the real disciple. If that same energy was applied to looking at one's own faults and one's own bhajan and so forth, so on, how much more progress probably would be made, right? And also, another danger is that if you have any idea of Guru Abhiman, right, or a sense of superiority to other Vaishnavas based on any external formalities, then this kind of mood that one doesn't seek reconciliation, which is the biggest thing, one that doesn't accommodate the individuality of the Sishyas of Srila Gurudev, right? And where there is a absence of the vetting of things by Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. These three things prominently. Where these things are present, it could be pretty much understood this is an artificial kind of Guru Nistha. And it is not genuine, because real Guru Nistha has the qualities that are opposite of those things. It looks for reconciliation. It looks for the absence of aparad, vitriol, all these things. And it also especially looks at the reconciling of things, because Sri Guru is the principle of absolute reconciliation and removing of doubts. Now, it may be that my doubt may not be removed in one session of something, but by hearing something over and over, by digesting it, by meditating on it, in the absence of vitriol and anger and all of these different things, and when that happens, it's very sweet. When those other things are added, it becomes very taxing, and it leads to Tarkavad, which is arguing. And any genuine Vaishnava has no taste for that. And I've had direct experience recently where a particular Siddhantic issue becomes so full of this artificial Guru Nistha for one, and for two, a sense of vitriol, anger, a lack of looking for reconciliation, that it starts to create division, literally. And nobody can speak that being divided gives pleasure to Sri Guru in any institution. So, in the absence of those things, and in the abhiman that I am either Guru or renunciant or sastravad, means sastravid, I mean, not sastravad, sastravid, that I'm so learned, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, that abhiman carries into your dealings with people, and you begin to have an inferior perception of people, that you, or especially devotees, that you cannot dialogue, then this is not really Guru Nistha. And in its symptoms, it is evident, right? So it's not a conjecture. Just like a fever, sniffles, and tiredness and weakness are indicative of a flu or cold or whatever it is, in the same way, these things are indicative of not real Guru Nistha, but some spiritual issues. So I don't want to belabor the point, and also I'm trying to do multitasking here, so I'm also preparing the offering here. So my Dandavat Pranam, it appears like it's going to rain, so it seems like everything is getting dark here. So for my Dandavat Pranams, Vanchakalpaturubhischa, Kripa Sindhubevacha, Patitanam Pavanevyo, Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai. So please bear in mind, this was just an impromptu sort of discussion. Perhaps in the future, I'll do a more detailed explanation of Guru Nistha and bring in many elements of Shastra, everything else. But this was just a sort of nugget, so to speak, of just a way to look differently at how people are expressing Guru Nistha, and perhaps maybe encourage some ideal that the first element of Guru Nistha, right, should be more the standard than the conflated version of Guru Nistha, which is expressed in all caps. All right, my Dandavat Pranam. Radhe Radhe.